Alright, this week we'll be starting with polynomials. If you notice, this is an Algebra 1 topic. So this is like your first Algebra 1 topic. Some do overlap, but this is the first truly Algebra 1 topic. It's polynomials. So first of all, what is a polynomial? Polynomial comes from poly, which means many, and nomial, which in this case means terms. So it's many terms. A polynomial, that should say polynomial, x. A polynomial can have constants. Okay, constants are just numbers like 3, -20, 1/2. It can have variables like x and y, and it can have positive exponents. All of these can be combined using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, except polynomials are not able to be divided by a variable. So if we have 5 divided by x, that is not a polynomial. If we have 5x divided by 2, that is a polynomial. Here's an example here. Okay, so we do have exponents. If you notice, all my exponents are positive, 2, 1, and 3. We have 4 different terms here. 5xy squared is one term. -3x is another. 5y to the third is the third one. And -3 is a constant, but here it's a term. So that is considered a polynomial. Things that are not polynomials, 3xy to the -2nd, or 2 divided by x plus 2. If you notice, since it's divided by x in the denominator, it is not a polynomial. So here's your definition. A polynomial can have constants, variables, and exponents, but never division by a variable. So some examples are 5x, -512v to the 5th plus 99w to the 5th, x plus 2, -6y minus 79x. If you notice that next one, positive 3xyz plus 3xy squared z, all of those, that has 5 terms. That is okay. The first term is 3xyz, and then it goes from there. Second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term. It could just have one term, like y, or the number 5. Even though that's just a constant, it's still a polynomial with one term. So we can classify these polynomials based on how many terms they have. That's one way. Another way is by the degree. So the most common way is based on the number of terms. A monomial means one term because mono means one. So 5x, that's one term. Even though they're connected by multiplication, that is still considered one term. In order for it to be an extra term, it has to be combined by addition or subtraction. So the second one is a binomial because it has 2 terms, -8x plus 3. That's 2 terms joined by addition. Trinomial has 3 terms. Then anything else that has more than 3 terms is just called a polynomial. So it can have 20 terms. It's called a polynomial. It can have 8 terms. It's called a polynomial. Sometimes we even refer to monomials, binomials, trinomials as polynomials, just as a general description. And we could be more specific and say, oh, it's a polynomial with 2 terms. We could call that a binomial. So polynomial is just a general term. We also can classify it by the degree. So the degree is based on the highest exponent in a term. So if you look at that first example there, 3x to the 4th plus 5x squared minus 4x plus 9, that is a polynomial because it has 4 terms with a degree of 4. So the 4 comes from the highest exponent in that expression, that is x to the 4th. Terms with more than one variable, the way you define the degree is you add the exponents. So most of the time people will think that next example has a degree of 4 because they see x to the 4th as the highest. But since 3x to the 4th, y to the 3rd is one term, we have to add all of those exponents. So we have x to the 4th and y to the 3rd. That would give it a degree of 7. If that first term wasn't there, that it would be a binomial and it would have a degree of 3 because I have x squared plus y, so that would be 2 plus 1. If those two were not there and I just had -4x, that would be a monomial with a degree of 1. The first thing we're going to learn about polynomials is just to add and subtract them. You have been doing this for 3 years. Okay, this is combining like terms. The only difference is we're going to combine them. Then after we combine them, we might classify them by either the number of terms or their degree, and we'll write them in standard form. So number 1, 3x plus 4y plus 8x minus 3y plus 2x to the 3rd. So first of all, when I go to combine like terms, you can combine them in any order you want. Most of you will probably combine 3x and 8x first, and that will give you 11x. And then you might combine 4y minus 3y That is positive y. And then you would just drop this 2x to the third down to the bottom. This is correct algebraically, but it's not in standard form. Typically, we write these in standard form. That means I list my highest exponent, my variable with the highest exponent first. That gives me x to the third. Then I keep going with all my x's. So if I had x squared, I would list it next. I don't. So next I go with x to the 11x. And then finally I go alphabetically, so after x would be y. So for example, if I had like a to the 6th plus b to the 3rd plus a to the 7th plus c to the 8th, I would still go alphabetically. So I'd start with a to the 7th plus a to the 6th. Then I would go to my b terms, my highest b, let me add another one, b to the 5th. My highest b exponent would be b to the 5th plus b to the 3rd, and then I would go with my c's, c to the 8th, because we still want it to go alphabetically and then by highest exponent. This would be in standard form. This whole expression would have a degree of 8, and this would just be a polynomial because it has more than 3 terms, since it has 5. Alright, so next, when we're subtracting, if there are parentheses, you need to distribute this negative. That would give me 2x to the 5th plus 3y squared minus x to the 5th plus 8y squared. That negative gets distributed to the negative 8y squared. Now when I combine like terms, 2x to the 5th minus x to the 5th gives me x to the 5th. 3y squared plus 8y squared gives me 11y squared. This is in standard form because I go alphabetically x and then the y. So you're going to complete a Kahoot on Google Classroom. The topics are classifying polynomials, so that might be by number of terms or degree. You're going to practice some adding and subtracting. Remember, standard form of polynomial orders the terms from the highest exponent to the lowest, and it follows alphabetical order. And there's an example. If you have any questions, you can just shoot me an email or you can post it on Google Classroom. On the Kahoot, you need to make sure to use your real name because I need to know it's you. If not, you're not going to get credit for the Kahoot. If you don't like your grade the first time, you may retake it until you get a grade that you want, but use your name but put a number 1 by it or a number 2 by it so I know how many times it took you. I will give you your highest grade that you make. If you have any questions, let me know.